Can you believe it? It's been over 3 decades since a certain chosen one first stepped into Sunnydale High. We all grew up with Buffy, Willow, Xander, and Spike, watching them save the world. A lot. But what happens when the vampires are vanquished and the credits roll for the last time? We're going from then to now, revisiting their iconic roles and catching up on where their careers and lives have taken them since. Prepare for some serious nostalgia, a few surprises, and maybe even the feeling that time flies even faster than a vampire dusted in the sunlight. Let's dive in. Sarah Michelle Gellar, more than just the Slayer. If the 90s and early 2000s had a defining face for teenage angst, demon-fueled drama, and impeccable cheekbone structure, it was, without a doubt, Sarah Michelle Gellar. She wasn't just an actress, she was a cultural reset. For a generation, she was Buffy Summers, the girl who saved the world, a lot. But to reduce her legacy to just one stake-wielding role would be like saying a vampire is just a guy with a mild dental issue. It completely misses the point. Sarah Michelle Gellar's career is a masterclass in navigating Hollywood, from child soap star to genre-defining icon, and finally, to a savvy businesswoman and advocate who has gracefully carved out her own path on her own terms. She taught a generation that it was okay to be strong, vulnerable, fashionable, and fiercely loyal, all while delivering a killer pun before dusting a master vampire. Before we dive into the Sunnydale Hellmouth, let's set the scene. Sarah Michelle Gellar is, first and foremost, Buffy Ann Summers. This role is so iconic that it's practically fused with her DNA, but her filmography is a delightful smorgasbord of genres. The horror maven. She is the undisputed queen of the late 90s, early 2000s teen horror. After Buffy, she headlined the film that arguably kicked off the modern teen scream revival, I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997, where her character Helen Shiver's fate and that fabulous wig became instant pop culture lore. She then followed it up with the gothic romance Simply Irresistible, 1999, and the American remake of The Grudge, 2004, proving she could terrify audiences without a wooden stake in sight. The animated voice. For a whole other generation, she is the voice of Daphne Blake in the live-action Scooby-Doo films, 2002-2004, bringing the classic character to life with a perfect blend of klutzy charm and genuine bravery. The soap opera schemer. Long before Sunnydale, daytime television viewers knew her as the diabolical Kendall Hart on All My Children, a role she played as a teenager and for which she won a Daytime Emmy Award, making her one of the youngest actresses ever to do so. Born in New York City in 1977, Gellar's life was never conventional. Her parents divorced when she was young, and she was raised primarily by her mother on the Upper East Side. Her career started almost by accident. At the age of 4, she was discovered in a restaurant by an agent, and her first major gig was a Burger King commercial where she famously declared, "I don't have to eat this burger." She was a fiercely independent and ambitious child. While other kids were playing, she was balancing auditions with school. She attended the Professional Children's School in Manhattan, an institution designed for kids working in the entertainment industry. This early start gave her a unique professionalism and a no-nonsense attitude towards the business. By the time she was a teenager, she was already a veteran, landing the career-defining and villainous role on All My Children, which honed her acting chops and prepared her for the relentless schedule that Buffy would later demand. In 1997, Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't just get a job, she became the face of a revolution. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, created by Joss Whedon, was a premise that sounded ridiculous on paper. A blonde cheerleader who fights vampires. But in Gellar's hands, Buffy became so much more. She was strong but deeply emotional, funny but burdened, and ultimately, a feminist icon who redefined what a female hero could be. Gellar didn't just play Buffy, she was Buffy for 7 seasons. She performed a vast majority of her own stunts, bringing a physical credibility to the role that was astounding. The show's unique blend of horror, comedy, and high school drama lived and died on her ability to pivot from a witty quip to a heart-wrenching emotional breakdown in a single scene, a skill she mastered. Over the years, Gellar has spoken with refreshing candor about her time on the show. She has expressed immense pride in the legacy of Buffy and the impact it had on its fans. However, she has also been open about the challenges. The shooting schedule was famously brutal, often lasting 14-16 hours a day. In recent years, she has alluded to a toxic work environment, without naming names, clarifying that her experience was not defined by that, but by the incredible cast and crew she worked with. She has said, "I will always be proud of Buffy." Her comments reflect a complex, mature relationship with the role that made her famous, honoring its legacy while acknowledging the personal cost. After Buffy ended in 2003, Gellar didn't slow down. She successfully transitioned to film with the Scooby-Doo franchise and The Grudge. However, as Hollywood roles for women in their 30s became less compelling, she began to strategically pivot. She returned to television with series like Ringer, 2011, where she played twin sisters, and the critically acclaimed but short-lived sitcom The Crazy Ones, 2013-2014, alongside the late Robin Williams. While these shows had their merits, it became clear that Gellar was becoming more selective. This selectivity wasn't a sign of a fading career, but a conscious choice. She began to prioritize her family and explore interests beyond acting. In a town where relationships often have the lifespan of a mayfly, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. are an enduring anomaly. They met on the set of I Know What You Did Last Summer, but didn't start dating until years later, bonding over a shared love of family, food, and not taking Hollywood too seriously. They married in 2002 in a beautiful, private ceremony in Mexico, and they have been a solid unit ever since. Together they have 2 children, Charlotte and Rocky. Gellar has been fiercely protective of their privacy, ensuring they have as normal an upbringing as possible. Their marriage is often cited as one of Hollywood's strongest, built on mutual respect, a shared sense of humor, their social media banter is legendary, and a clear understanding that family comes first. She famously stepped back from acting for periods to be a hands-on mom, a decision she has never regretted. So, where is Sarah Michelle Gellar now? She's thriving, but on her own terms. Acting is no longer her sole focus. It's one part of a multifaceted portfolio. The food entrepreneur. In 2015, she co-founded Food Stirs, a baking brand focused on easy-to-make organic baking mixes and kits. What started as a passion project has grown into a successful business, allowing her to merge her love of baking with her business acumen. It's a far cry from the bronze, but it's a venture she truly owns and loves. The nostalgic return to TV. In a move that delighted fans worldwide, Gellar returned to Supernatural Television in 2023 with a starring role in the Paramount Plus series Wolfpack, based on the books by Ido van Belkom. While the show was not renewed for a second season, her involvement signaled a willingness to return to the genre that made her famous, but this time as a producer and veteran mentor figure. The voice of a new generation. She continues to do voice work, most recently as the narrator in the hit adult animated series Solar Opposites. Showing off her comedic timing remains as sharp as ever. Advocate and influencer. She uses her massive platform to advocate for causes she believes in, from children's welfare to women's rights, and remains a vocal, beloved figure on social media, where she shares glimpses of her family life, her baking triumphs and failures, and a heavy dose of self-deprecating humor. Today, Sarah Michelle Gellar is, in many ways, more empowered than ever. She has successfully navigated the tricky transition from teen idol to respected industry figure, building a life that balances work, family, and personal passion. She is no longer just the Slayer. She is a CEO, a mother, an advocate, and a living reminder that you can define your own destiny, even after you've already saved the world. Nicholas Brendon, the heroic heart, on-screen and off. In the sprawling, demon-infested universe of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where heroes were chosen by destiny and villains were bestowed with apocalyptic prophecies, one hero emerged not from mystical forces, but from the sheer, relatable force of being a decent guy. That hero was Xander Harris, the wisecracking, loyal, and often terrified everyman of the Scooby Gang. And the man who brought him to life, Nicholas Brendon, is a story of immense talent, profound charm, and a real-life narrative far more complex and turbulent than any hellmouth could conjure. To talk about Nicholas Brendon is to talk about Xander, a character so deeply etched into the cultural consciousness that the two are often inseparable in the public eye. But behind the quick wit and the heart of gold lay an actor whose own journey has been a roller coaster of soaring highs and devastating lows, a testament to the fact that sometimes the hardest battles aren't against vampires, but against the demons within. Ask any fan of genre television from the late 90s or early 2000s to name a reliable sidekick, and Nicholas Brendon's name will be at the top of the list. His filmography is, in many ways, dominated by one colossal, defining role. Xander Harris in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1997 to 2003. This is the role. Xander was the anchor to humanity in a world of slayers, witches, and werewolves. With no supernatural abilities to speak of, his power was his loyalty, his humor, and his unwavering courage in the face of almost certain death. Brendon's impeccable comic timing and everyman charm made Xander the show's emotional core and its primary source of levity. His pop culture references and self-deprecating jokes were a lifeline for viewers, a reminder that you didn't need superpowers to be a hero. Kevin in Criminal Minds, 2007 to 2014. In a dramatic departure from the Hellmouth, Brendon enjoyed a long-running role as FBI technical analyst Kevin Lynch on Criminal Minds. This role proved his versatility, showing he could handle a more serious procedural character while still injecting a dose of his signature likability. For 7 seasons, he was a dependable part of the BAU team, trading demon research for criminal profiling. Other notable appearances. Beyond these two pillars, Brendon became a familiar face in the sci-fi and fantasy convention circuit, appearing in shows like Private Practice and lending his voice to various animated projects. However, these roles often lived in the long shadow cast by the iconic Xander Harris. Born in 1971 in Los Angeles, Nicholas Brendon Schultz's early life was marked by a challenge that would profoundly shape his future. He grew up with a significant stutter, a hurdle that made communication difficult and pushed him away from the spotlight he would later crave. In a twist of fate worthy of a Buffy plot, he has an identical twin brother, Kelly. The two were incredibly close, and Kelly often acted as Nicholas's voice, ordering food for him or speaking on his behalf. It was through acting that Brendon found a miraculous reprieve from his stutter. He discovered that when he was reciting lines and playing a character, the stutter would disappear. This transformative power of performance ignited his passion for acting. Before his big break, he worked a series of odd jobs, including as a production assistant and a dog walker, dreaming of the day he could speak his own lines, fluently and for a living. When Brendon auditioned for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he wasn't just trying out for a job. He was stepping into a role that would define a generation's idea of a friend. He was the one who remembered to bring the weapons, provided the pop culture commentary during tense moments. I laugh in the face of danger. And, most importantly, never abandoned his friends. Brendon's relationship with the show is deeply layered. He has always expressed immense gratitude and love for the experience, the cast, whom he often refers to as his family, and the fans. He understands Xander's significance as the relatable human element. In numerous interviews and convention appearances, he radiates affection for the character and the legacy. However, the role was also a double-edged sword. The intense fame and typecasting that followed made it difficult for him to find diverse work after the series ended. The pressure of being Xander in the public eye was immense, and it coincided with personal struggles that were just beginning to surface. Despite this, his default setting when discussing Buffy is one of pride and nostalgia, often sharing hilarious behind-the-scenes anecdotes about pranks on set and the deep bonds formed with co-stars like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Alyson Hannigan. The end of Buffy in 2003 left a void in the lives of both the cast and the fans. For Brendon, the transition was challenging. While he landed a significant role in Criminal Minds a few years later, proving he could succeed beyond the world of Sunnydale, the period between and after was marked by smaller, often forgettable roles in direct-to-video films and low-budget genre projects. The shadow of Xander was long, and Hollywood often didn't know what to do with him outside of that context. His work became largely centered around the convention scene, where his genuine love for the fans and his charismatic, funny panels made him a perennial favorite. This was both a blessing and a curse. It provided an income and a direct connection to his admirers, but it also kept him firmly anchored in the past, making it harder to forge a new artistic identity. This is the part of the story where the cheerful, goofy facade cracks to reveal a much darker and more complicated reality. Nicholas Brendon's personal life has been a very public struggle with addiction and mental health issues. For years, his problems played out in the headlines. Multiple arrests for DUI, bar fights, and domestic disputes. There were stints in rehab and very candid admissions about his battles with depression and alcoholism. These incidents painted a picture of a man struggling to cope with the pressures of fame, the burden of typecasting, and his own inner demons. His struggles have been heartbreaking for fans who saw in him the lovable, dependable Xander. They serve as a stark reminder that the person on the screen is a performance and the actor underneath is navigating their own, often difficult, reality. Through it all, he has often expressed a desire to get better, apologizing to fans and acknowledging his mistakes, even as the cycle sometimes repeated. As of 2024-2025, Nicholas Brendon's story is one of continued struggle and cautious hope. His acting career has significantly slowed. He is not a regular on any television series, and his recent credits are sparse. His primary public presence remains the fan convention circuit, where he continues to be a draw for legions of Buffy fans. These appearances are a lifeline, both financially and emotionally. His panels are known for their humor and heart, a testament to the genuine connection he feels with the people who love his work. However, his personal life continues to be turbulent. Legal and financial troubles persist, and his health has been a concern for fans. The narrative around him today is less about a career resurgence and more about survival and the enduring hope for redemption from his supporters. He represents a poignant and complicated figure in the Buffy legacy. He is not the squeaky clean hero his most famous character was, but a flawed human being who has faced very real, very public battles. For his fans, supporting Nikki Brendon is an act of complex loyalty, a love for the artist who gave them so much joy, and a hope that the man behind the artist can finally find the peace that his most famous character always fought to protect. He remains, for better or worse, a deeply human part of the Buffy story. Alyson Hannigan, from Band Candy to Band Camp and beyond. In the grand, quirky tapestry of pop culture, few actresses have managed to carve out a niche as uniquely charming and enduring as Alyson Hannigan. With a career that spans from ancient prophecies on a hellmouth to the equally terrifying world of high school band camp and a suburban sitcom fueled by wine and sarcasm, Hannigan has become a beloved fixture on our screens. She is the master of playing the adorable, slightly awkward, yet surprisingly fierce woman you can't help but root for. She's the friend who would help you research a demon, plan a wedding, or navigate the perils of motherhood, all with the same wide-eyed enthusiasm and a perfectly timed witty remark. Hannigan's career is a testament to the power of niche and likability. She never had to be the conventional leading lady. Instead, she became something far more resonant, a relatable icon for the geeks, the romantics, and the slightly weird kids who eventually, sort of, figured it out. Her journey from a child actor to a sitcom superstar is a story of talent, smart choices, and a personality so genuinely sweet it could probably vanquish a minor demon on its own. If you were to build a Mount Rushmore of early 2000s comedy characters, at least one of Alyson Hannigan's roles would be etched in stone. Her filmography is a masterclass in quality over quantity, built on 3 colossal pillars. Willow Rosenberg in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1997 to 2003. This is the role that started it all. Willow began as the shy, nerdy, computer geek sidekick, a wallflower with a crush on her best friend Xander. But over 7 seasons, Hannigan guided Willow through one of television's most profound character arcs. She evolved from a timid girl into a powerful, confident witch, navigating first love, heartbreak, addiction to magic, and a descent into dark, vengeance-fueled rage. Hannigan made this incredible transformation believable, grounding the supernatural in raw human emotion. She was the heart of the Scooby Gang. Michelle Flaherty in the American Pie franchise, 1999 to 2012. In a hilarious parallel universe while Willow was casting spells in Sunnydale, Hannigan was stealing scenes as the notoriously inquisitive band geek Michelle. Her character's famous whispered line to Jim Levinstein, "This one time at band camp," became an instant cultural catchphrase. With just a few minutes of screen time in each film, Hannigan created an iconic comedy character, proving her impeccable timing and ability to make awkwardness utterly endearing. Lily Aldrin in How I Met Your Mother, 2005-2014. For 9 seasons, Hannigan played Lily, the kindergarten teacher with a mysterious, slightly terrifying evil side, and a lifelong love for her best friend, Marshall. As Lily, she was the group's emotional glue and resident schemer. The role allowed her to showcase her full comedic range, from physical comedy and sarcastic zingers to moments of genuine tenderness and maternal warmth. Asad in 1974, but her family moved to Atlanta, Georgia when she was young. Her foray into show business started early, with her first commercial at the tender age of 4 for a breakfast cereal. Recognizing her talent and comfort in front of the camera, her family relocated to Hollywood when she was 11 to seriously pursue acting. She became a classic working child actor in the 80s and 90s, appearing in over 60 commercials for brands like Oreos and McDonald's. She also landed small roles in films like My Stepmother is an Alien and shows like Roseanne and Picket Fences. Unlike many of her peers, she navigated this world with a level head, balancing auditions with a normal-ish high school experience. This early, steady work honed her craft and gave her the professional discipline that would serve her well on the grueling sets of her future hit shows. Landing the role of Willow Rosenberg was a career-defining moment. Initially, the character was conceived as a peripheral friend, but the combination of Joss Whedon's writing and Hannigan's instantly lovable performance quickly made Willow indispensable. Hannigan's approach to Willow was rooted in authenticity. She made the character's intelligence and vulnerability her strengths, not her weaknesses. Her relationship with the show is one of unadulterated affection and pride. In countless interviews, she speaks of her time on Buffy with immense gratitude, often referring to the cast as her family. She has fond memories of the set, from the intense emotional scenes to the lighter moments of goofing around with co-stars like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Brendon. Hannigan is particularly proud of Willow's groundbreaking storyline with Tara, Amber Benson, one of the first sustained positive lesbian relationships on primetime television. She has stated that she felt a responsibility to portray the relationship with honesty and sweetness, and she remains deeply touched by the impact it had on LGBTQ+ viewers. For Hannigan, Buffy wasn't just a job. It was a formative experience that shaped her as an actress and a person, and she happily embraces her place in its enduring legacy. After Buffy ended, Hannigan seamlessly transitioned into the next phase of her career. Rather than struggling against typecasting, she leaned into her strengths. The American Pie sequels. She reprised her role as Michelle in all the sequels, her part growing with each film until she became a central member of the group, finally marrying Jim in a wedding that served as the climax of American Wedding. How I Met Your Mother. This role cemented her status as a sitcom star. As Lily Aldrin, she got to be the stable center of a chaotic friend group, all while delivering some of the show's funniest and most memorable lines. And has made memorable guest appearances on series like The Simpsons and Fabulous. In a fun, darkly comedic turn, she even played a bank robber in the final season of the crime drama Why Women Kill. In a town not known for its stable relationships, Alyson Hannigan's personal life reads like a fairy tale. She met actor Alexis Denisof on the set of Buffy, where he played the lovably stuffy Watcher, Wesley Wyndham-Pryce, and the two began dating in 2001. Their on-screen and off-screen romance delighted fans, and they married in 2003 in a beautiful, private ceremony. The couple has 2 daughters, Satyana and Kiva. Hannigan has been famously private about her family life, choosing to shield her children from the spotlight. From the glimpses she does share, it's clear that family is her top priority. Her relationship with Denisof is one of Hollywood's most enduring and stable partnerships, a real-life love story that rivals any of Lily and Marshall's epic romances. So, what is Alyson Hannigan up to in 2024-2025? She has gracefully entered a new, highly entertaining chapter of her career. Her primary focus in recent years has been as the host of the wildly popular baking competition, Penn and Teller Fool Us. As the host, she is in her element, charming, funny, and genuinely engaging with the magicians and the audience. The role is a perfect fit, allowing her warm and playful personality to shine without the demands of a series' regular schedule. While she still takes on the occasional acting role like her part in Why Women Kill, she seems to be highly selective, prioritizing a balanced life with her family. She is a constant and beloved presence on social media, where she shares glimpses of her life, her love for her family, and her self-deprecating humor, often poking fun at her own laziness or her love of wine. Alyson Hannigan today is a picture of contentment and success on her own terms. She navigated the tricky waters of child stardom, headlined two of the most beloved series of their time, built a stable and happy family, and transitioned into a role that keeps her in the public eye without the intense grind. She is, by all accounts, the woman who truly had it all: a brilliant career, a magical love story, and the wisdom to know what matters most. And that's a happier ending than any fairy tale could provide. James Marsters, the man who gave vampirism a soul. In the pantheon of television's greatest villains turned anti-heroes, few characters have left a mark as indelible or as fang-shaped as Spike. And the man who brought him to life, James Marsters, is a story of sheer force of will, immense talent, and a surprising dedication to his craft that transcends the leather duster and peroxide blonde hair. To talk about James Marsters is to talk about an actor who didn't just play a role, he weaponized it, turning a one-note punk rock vampire threat into a complex, poetic, and heartbreakingly human figure who forever changed the landscape of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Marsters is the ultimate character actor disguised as a leading man, a classically trained thespian who found his calling in the world of the supernatural and ran with it so fast he left skid marks. His career is a masterclass in how to steal every scene you're in, win over the girl and the audience, and build a legacy so enduring that, decades later, the mere opening chords of Rest in Peace are enough to send a shiver of delight down the spine of a generation. While James Marsters will forever be synonymous with his platinum coif and black leather jacket, his career is a fascinating mosaic of genre-bending roles that showcase his remarkable range. Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1997 to 2003, and Angel, 1999 to 2004. This is the role. William the Bloody, aka Spike, started as a terrifying big bad, a throwback to the punk era sent to Sunnydale to kill the Slayer. But through Marsters' raw, vulnerable, and often hilarious performance, Spike evolved into so much more. He was the poet trapped in a killer's body, the hopeless romantic capable of unspeakable violence and profound sacrifice. He was the chaos agent who provided much of the show's later comedic relief, yet also delivered some of its most devastating emotional blows. Lord Henry Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin in The Spectacular Spider-Man, 2008-2009. In what is widely considered one of the greatest animated adaptations of Spider-Man, Marsters lent his voice to Harry Osborn and his alter ego, the Green Goblin. His performance was chilling, maniacal, and layered, proving that his villainous chops were just as potent without a physical presence. Captain John Hart in Torchwood, 2008-2011. In a genius piece of casting, Marsters played a time-traveling, amoral, and flamboyant rogue agent in the Doctor Who spin-off. Captain Hart was essentially Spike in space, charismatic, dangerous, and utterly unpredictable. It was a role that allowed him to flex his comedic and villainous muscles in a whole new universe. Brainiac 5 in Smallville, 2008-2009. Showing his versatility, he took on the role of a heroic, intellectual Kalyuan in the Superman prequel series, a far cry from the visceral, emotional Spike. Long before he was menacing the citizens of Sunnydale, James Wesley Marsters was growing up in the modest green landscapes of Northern California and later, Greenville, Michigan. His was not a childhood destined for rock stardom or Hollywood glamour. He was a self-proclaimed theater nerd from the start, finding his escape and his passion on the stage. He studied at the prestigious Juilliard School's drama program, but left before graduating, feeling constrained by the classical approach. The world of Shakespeare, however, never left him. It would become the bedrock of his most famous performance. He spent years grinding in regional theater, honing his craft in everything from Shakespeare to contemporary plays. He even formed a folk rock band, Ghost of the Robot, because what's a struggling artist in the 90s without a band? This extensive stage training is the secret sauce to his success. It's why Spike's speeches, no matter how modern, always had the weight and rhythm of classical soliloquies. When Marsters was cast in Buffy, it was initially for a short, multi-episode arc. He was brought in as a minion for the season's main villain, and his character was supposed to be killed off quickly. But something magical happened. The chemistry between Marsters and the cast, particularly his electric, hate-fueled dynamic with Sarah Michelle Gellar's Buffy, was too potent to ignore. Marsters' approach to Spike was revolutionary. Instead of playing him as a mindless monster, he infused him with the soul of William Pratt, the hopeless romantic poet he was before being sired. He saw Spike not as a demon, but as a man whose worst traits, his obsession, his temper, his need for dramatic validation, were simply amplified by vampirism. This depth made his unrequited love for Drusilla, his chaotic alliance with the Scoobies, and his devastating obsessive love for Buffy feel tragically real. Marsters' relationship with the show was complex. He has spoken openly about the physical toll of the role, the painful bleach job that damaged his hair, the discomfort of the leather pants, and the intense hours. Yet his gratitude is boundless. He frequently credits the show and its fans for his career, and he speaks with immense respect for the writing and his fellow actors. He understood Spike's appeal was his humanity, famously saying, "Spike is all id. He's the guy who says the thing you're not supposed to say, does the thing you're not supposed to do." Unlike some of his co-stars, Marsters successfully avoided being permanently typecast as Spike, though he happily embraced his status as a genre icon. He strategically carved a path through sci-fi and fantasy, becoming a beloved guest star in a dozen different universes. He continued his voice acting triumph with the spectacular Spider-Man. He battled aliens in Caprica, tangled with Superman in Smallville, and time-traveled with Torchwood. He appeared in cult shows like Without a Trace and Supernatural, and even had a recurring role on Hawaii 5-0. While he never landed another role as culturally defining as Spike, he built a steady, respected, and varied career on his own terms, always bringing a level of intensity and commitment that elevated every project he was in. In stark contrast to his volatile and publicity-prone character, James Marsters has kept his personal life remarkably private. He was married to Patricia Rahman from 2011 until their divorce in 2021, and they have a son together. He also has a son from a previous relationship with musician Leanne Davidson. He is known by fans and colleagues as an intensely thoughtful, intelligent, and gentle person, a far cry from the snarling vampire he portrayed. His passions include music, he still writes and performs with his band, and he is an avid reader and thinker. This dichotomy between the man and the myth is one of the most fascinating things about him. It's a testament to his skill that he could channel such raw, chaotic energy while remaining a grounded and private individual. So, where is the man who taught us that even vampires could have a soul in 2024-2025? James Marsters is, in many ways, exactly where he wants to be, a working actor and a permanent, beloved fixture in the world of fandom. His acting career remains active. He continues to take on roles in independent films and guest spots on television, often in the sci-fi and fantasy realms he loves. However, his most significant and enduring connection to his audience is through the fan convention circuit. Marsters is a rock star at Comic Cons worldwide. His panels are legendary, a mix of hilarious, behind-the-scenes stories from Buffy, thoughtful answers to fan questions, and acoustic performances of songs from his band. He engages with his fans with a level of genuine appreciation and respect that is rare. He doesn't just tolerate his legacy, he celebrates it with the people who made it possible. He also continues to be a prolific voice actor, lending his distinctive, gravelly tones to video games and animated series. The man who once yearned for the stage now commands a global stage of a different kind, one built on decades of affection and shared cultural memory. James Marsters today is a content and successful artist who mastered the alchemy of turning one iconic role into a lifelong conversation with his audience. He proved that a character written to die could become immortal, and that a vampire with a poet's heart could, in the end, teach us all a little more about what it means to be human. Now, past the bloody Weetabix. David Boreanaz, the man who lived 2 centuries on television. In the ever-shifting landscape of network television, where shows are born and canceled with the fleeting lifespan of a mayfly, achieving one hit series is a feat. Landing 2 back-to-back, genre-defining shows that run for a combined 20 years is nothing short of mythological. David Boreanaz is that modern-day television deity. He is the undisputed king of the long-running procedural, a man who has been solving crimes and staring broodingly into the middle distance since the Clinton administration. With a career built on a foundation of supernatural angst and forensic precision, Boreanaz possesses a unique and enduring appeal. He's the actor who made a vampire with a soul the most relatable guy in the room, and then, after over 250 years of fictional life, decided to become an FBI agent who's just as tormented. His story isn't one of flash-in-the-pan fame, but of a slow, steady, and immensely powerful burn. A career as consistent and reliable as his character's ability to find a dead body. If you were to build a monument to primetime television in the 2000s, you would need to carve David Boreanaz's face on it, twice. His career is a masterclass in brand building, centered on two colossal roles. Angel in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1997-2003, and Angel, 1999-2004. This is where it all began. Angel, aka Angelus, the tortured vampire cursed with a soul, was the original dark, mysterious, and ridiculously handsome love interest. He was the 240-year-old with the emotional maturity of a teenage poet, and audiences frankly ate it up. Boreanaz brought a weighty gravitas and a surprising vulnerability to the role, making the centuries-old brooder both terrifying and tragically sexy. Seeley Booth in Bones, 2005-2017. After hanging up his vampire fangs, Boreanaz stepped into the polished shoes of FBI Special Agent Seeley Booth. In many ways, Booth was the human, wisecracking counterpart to Angel. He was a man of faith and action, partnering with a brilliant forensic anthropologist to solve murders. For 12 seasons, Boreanaz was the charming, everyman heart of one of television's most popular procedurals, proving his appeal was far more than supernatural. Special Agent Jason Hayes and SEAL Team, 2017-2024. Demonstrating his range and physical commitment, Boreanaz took on the role of a Tier 1 Navy SEAL team leader. This role allowed him to explore a different kind of torment, the psychological toll of modern warfare, while maintaining the core of a strong, loyal, and deeply capable leader. Long before he was battling demons and serial killers, David Boreanaz was just a kid from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, born in 1969. His life was refreshingly normal, devoid of any mystical prophecies or early signs of future stardom. His father was a renowned weather forecaster for a local TV station, giving David an early, behind-the-scenes look at the television industry. He was a jock, not a thespian. His passions were sports, particularly football and baseball. He attended Malvern Prep, a private Catholic school, and later Ithaca College, where he studied cinema and photography. After college, he moved to Los Angeles to seriously pursue acting, and like countless others, he paid his dues with small, forgettable roles and the obligatory stint waiting tables. His big break was anything but planned. It was a classic case of being in the right place at the right time while walking his dog. The origin story of David Boreanaz's career is the stuff of Hollywood legend. He wasn't discovered in an acting class or a prestigious theater production. He was, quite literally, spotted while walking his dog. A producer for Buffy the Vampire Slayer saw him on the street and asked him to audition. The rest, as they say, is history. His initial role on Buffy was supposed to be a minor, multi-episode arc. But the chemistry between his brooding Angel and Sarah Michelle Gellar's vibrant Buffy was electric. Boreanaz's portrayal was a perfect balance of old-world charm and deep, soul-crushing guilt. He made Angel's eternal torment compelling rather than whiny, and his transformation into the truly terrifying Angelus in Season 2 showcased a range that no one expected from the guy who was just walking his Siberian husky. Boreanaz's relationship with the show is one of gratitude and a healthy dose of self-deprecating humor. He has openly laughed at his own early, sometimes stiff, line deliveries and the sheer absurdity of his character's premise. He's the first to poke fun at the brooding, but he also recognizes the profound impact the show had on his life and career. He was gifted his own spin-off, Angel, which ran for 5 successful seasons and allowed the character to grow beyond the love interest trope into a true hero in his own right. For Boreanaz, Buffy was the ultimate acting school, and he graduated with honors. The leap from a cult fantasy show to a mainstream network hit is a chasm many actors fail to cross. David Boreanaz didn't just cross it, he built a bridge and charged tolls. With Bones, he achieved something remarkable. He became a bona fide television star, completely separate from his vampire origins. As Seeley Booth, he was the charismatic, intuitive foil to Emily Deschanel's hyper-rational Dr. Temperance Bones Brendon. The will they won't they tension between Booth and Brendon became the engine of the show for years, and Boreanaz's easy charm and chemistry with Deschanel were a huge part of its success. He also stepped behind the camera, directing several episodes of Bones, a role he would reprise for SEAL Team. SEAL Team represented another successful evolution. It was a grittier, more dramatic, and physically demanding role. It proved that Boreanaz wasn't just a TV star. He was a durable, adaptable leading man who could command a complex ensemble cast and explore the nuanced trauma of soldiers returning from combat. David Boreanaz's personal life has seen its share of sunshine and tabloid storms. He was married to actress Ingrid Quinn from 1997 to 1999. In 2001, he married his former All My Children co-star, Kaimi Bergman. Together, they have 2 children, a son and a daughter. Boreanaz has largely kept his family life out of the spotlight, presenting an image of a stable, committed family man. However, he hasn't been immune to controversy. In 2010, he publicly apologized for hurting his wife after being accused of having an affair. He navigated this personal scandal with a quiet dignity, and his marriage has endured, a testament to their commitment away from the cameras. His public persona is that of a grounded, regular guy. He's a passionate fan of Philadelphia sports teams, often seen cheering them on from the sidelines. He comes across as someone who, despite 2 decades of fame, hasn't lost touch with his roots or his sense of self. As of 2024-2025, David Boreanaz is in a fascinating phase of his career. After SEAL Team concluded its run, he isn't just an actor, he's a television veteran and a powerful producer. His primary focus in recent years was steering SEAL Team to its conclusion, a task he undertook both as the star and a frequent director. With that chapter closed, the question is, what does a man who has already had 2 of the most successful runs in television history do for an encore? The answer will likely involve more work behind the camera. He has proven his skill as a director and producer, and it's a natural evolution for a star of his caliber. While he will undoubtedly act again, his presence is too commanding to stay away for long, he has earned the right to be highly selective. He remains a fixture on social media, where his sense of humor is on full display. From hilarious behind-the-scenes antics to heartfelt tributes to his colleagues and family, he engages with his fans with a warmth and relatability that belies his A-list status. David Boreanaz today is the elder statesman of primetime drama. He is living proof that talent, a strong work ethic, and the ability to evolve can build an empire. He went from a guy walking his dog to a vampire to an FBI agent to a Navy SEAL, and in the process, he became one of the most dependable and enduring faces in television history. Not bad for a kid from Philly. Charisma Carpenter, the queen who earned her crown. In the universe of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show teeming with demons, gods, and ancient powers, the most formidable force often wasn't supernatural at all. It was a teenage girl wielding the devastating combination of a perfect blonde bob, a withering put-down, and an unshakable belief in her own popularity. That girl was Cordelia Chase, and the woman who brought her to life, Charisma Carpenter, is a story of unexpected depth, remarkable resilience, and a namesake that proved to be utterly prophetic. To talk about Charisma Carpenter is to talk about an actress who took what could have been a one-note mean girl caricature and infused her with a soul, a journey, and a legacy that continues to resonate with fans decades later. Carpenter's career is a masterclass in character evolution. She navigated the transition from high school queen to struggling actress to otherworldly visionary with a grace and humor that mirrored her most famous character's own path. Her story is one of survival, both on-screen and off, proving that true strength isn't about being the chosen one, but about choosing to grow, adapt, and fight for yourself. Charisma Carpenter's filmography is dominated by one of the most satisfying character arcs in television history, but her talent for playing fierce, complex women extends beyond the Hellmouth. Cordelia Chase in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1997 to 1999, and Angel, 1999 to 2004. This is the role. When we first met Cordelia, she was the epitome of the high school queen bee, shallow, materialistic, and brutally honest in the way only a teenager with unchecked social power can be. But under Carpenter's skilled portrayal, Cordelia's sharp edges began to reveal a core of unexpected steel and loyalty. Her migration to the spin-off Angel was a narrative masterstroke, allowing the character to mature from a self-involved socialite into a compassionate, heroic, and fiercely independent woman, culminating in her powerful and tragic arc as a higher being. Kyra in The Expendables 2010 and The Expendables 2 2012. In a delightful pivot, Carpenter held her own amidst a roster of Hollywood's toughest action legends. As Kira, she traded witty barbs for a more physical presence, proving her versatility and adding a dose of glamour and grit to the testosterone-fueled franchise. Various guest roles. She became a familiar and welcome face in the world of genre television, appearing in shows like Veronica Mars, Charmed, and Supernatural, often playing characters who shared Cordelia's signature blend of beauty and bite. Born in 1970 in Las Vegas, Nevada, Charisma Carpenter's life was destined to be interesting from the start. Her unique and beautiful name wasn't a stage name. It was given to her by her mother, who was reading a book where a character had the same name and felt it was perfect for her daughter. No pressure, right? Her childhood and teenage years were marked by a rebellious streak and a passion for athletics. She was a competitive swimmer and cheerleader, channeling her energy into sports. After graduating from high school, she moved to Los Angeles and, in a classic Hollywood origin story, was discovered while working as a cocktail waitress. Her early career consisted of the standard diet of commercials and minor modeling gigs, but her striking looks and undeniable presence soon landed her the role that would define her career and change her life. When Charisma Carpenter auditioned for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the character of Cordelia Chase was written as a classic one-dimensional mean girl. But Carpenter saw something more. She infused Cordelia with a specific, almost logical worldview. Her insults weren't just cruel, they were hilariously accurate observations. Her self-absorption was a shield, and as the show progressed, cracks began to show, revealing a capacity for genuine courage and friendship. Her journey from the halls of Sunnydale High to the hyper-masculine world of Angel is one of television's greatest glow-ups. On Angel, stripped of her family's wealth and forced to fend for herself in Los Angeles, Cordelia truly grew up. Carpenter masterfully portrayed her character's struggle, her ambition, and her gradual, hard-won empathy. Her arc, from vain aspiring actress to a woman who willingly accepts demonic visions that cause her excruciating pain to help the helpless, is nothing short of heroic. Carpenter's relationship with the show is complex and has evolved over time. She has always expressed deep love for the fans and pride in the work she did, particularly in humanizing Cordelia. However, she has also been courageously candid about her experiences behind the scenes. In 2021, she came forward with her own account of a toxic and hostile work environment, specifically citing the abusive behavior of showrunner Joss Whedon. Her statement, made in support of her co-star Ray Fisher, was a powerful act of solidarity and truth-telling. It reframed her legacy, showing that, like Cordelia, her true strength lay in using her voice to stand up for what is right, no matter the cost. After Angel's abrupt cancellation in 2004, Carpenter, like many of her co-stars, navigated the challenging landscape of post-iconic role Hollywood. She gracefully embraced her status as a beloved genre star, making memorable guest appearances that felt like a wink to her fans. She didn't chase the spotlight, but built a steady career on her own terms. Her role in the Expendables films was a highlight, allowing her to tap into a different kind of strength and share the screen with a new generation of action icons. She continued to work consistently in television, always bringing a spark of her signature charisma to every role, whether it was a vengeful goddess on Charmed or a troubled mother on Supernatural. Charisma Carpenter's personal life has been a journey of resilience and finding joy amidst challenges. She married musician Damian Hardy in 2002, and they have a son together, Donovan. The couple divorced in 2008, and Carpenter has been open about the difficulties of co-parenting and the emotional toll of the split. In 2020, she revealed a terrifying health scare, having been hospitalized after a brutal attack by an intruder in her home. The incident left her with physical and emotional scars, but she spoke about it with her characteristic courage, focusing on her recovery and gratitude for her safety and that of her son. Her decision to speak out about her traumatic experiences on the set of Angel is a pivotal part of her personal narrative. It showcased a woman who has weathered significant storms and emerged not broken, but fortified, using her platform to advocate for a better, safer industry. So, where is the woman who taught us that popularity is a superpower, but character is everything in 2024-2025? Charisma Carpenter is thriving in a chapter defined by advocacy, authenticity, and a deep connection with her community. Her acting career continues, albeit selectively. She makes guest appearances and takes on roles that interest her, but her public presence has expanded into something more powerful. Today, she is a vocal and inspiring advocate for survivors of abuse and trauma. She uses her social media platforms not just for promotion, but for connection, sharing resources, and offering support to others who have faced similar struggles. She has become a beacon of hope and resilience, transforming her personal pain into a source of strength for others. She is also a dedicated and joyful presence on the fan convention circuit. Her panels are legendary, a mix of hilarious, behind-the-scenes stories, candid reflections on her career, and heartfelt interactions with the fans who have supported her for decades. She embraces her legacy with warmth and humor, fully aware of the impact Cordelia Chase had on so many. Charisma Carpenter today is more than an actress. She is a survivor, an advocate, and a testament to the power of personal growth. She started her career playing a queen and has spent the rest of her life earning that title in the real world, proving that the most compelling hero's journey is the one that leads to finding and using your own powerful voice. And that, as Cordelia would say, is a much better look than last season's Prada. Eliza Dushku, the girl who brought the fight. In the world of genre television and film, where heroes are often defined by their superpowers or mystical destinies, Eliza Dushku carved out a unique and unforgettable niche. She was the street-smart brawler. With a smirk that could disarm you and a right hook that could drop a demon, Dushku didn't just play tough characters. She embodied a specific, irresistible energy of rebellious, capable, and fiercely loyal womanhood. She was the girl who could save the world, but would probably roll her eyes and demand payment first. From a child actor holding her own beside cinematic legends to creating one of the most beloved cult characters in television history, Dushku's career is a story of raw talent, magnetic charisma, and a fearless attitude that shone through every role. Her journey is a testament to the power of a well-delivered punchline and a perfectly executed roundhouse kick. Eliza Dushku's filmography is a tour of cult classics and beloved shows, all united by her signature blend of strength and vulnerability. Faith Lehane in Buffy the Vampire Slayer 1998-2003 and Angel 2000-2003. This is the role that defined her. Faith wasn't just another Slayer. She was Buffy's dark mirror, a raw, damaged, and dangerously chaotic force of nature. Dushku didn't just play the bad Slayer. She gave Faith a heartbreaking depth, a torrent of pain and rage that made her one of the most complex and compelling characters in the entire Buffyverse. Her chemistry with Sarah Michelle Gellar was electric, a dance of rivalry, understanding, and twisted sisterhood. True Davies in True Calling, 2003-2005. Following her success on Buffy, Dushku headlined her own supernatural drama. As a morgue worker who could relive days to prevent deaths, she got to showcase a different side of her range, more earnest and empathetic, but still with that signature Dushku spark. Echo Caroline Farrell in Dollhouse, 2009-2010. In a stunning reunion with Buffy creator Joss Whedon, Dushku took on her most challenging role. As an active whose personality could be wiped and replaced weekly, she had to play a different character in nearly every episode, from an assassin to a negotiator to a lover. It was a breathtaking showcase of her versatility, even if the show was tragically short-lived. Missy in Bring It On, 2000. In the ultimate early 2000s time capsule, Dushku stole the show as the sassy, rebellious cheerleader Missy Pantone. The role proved her comedic chops and cemented her status as a teen icon. Eliza Dushku was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1980, and her tough, no-nonsense persona isn't an act, it's baked in. The youngest of 4 children, she was raised in a progressive academic household. Her mother was a political science professor and her father a teacher and administrator. A self-described tomboy, Dushku was more interested in sports and roughhousing than in performing. Her foray into acting was almost an accident. At the age of 10, she was discovered by casting scouts who were looking for a fresh, authentic face for the film that night. She beat out over 2,000 other girls, and a star was born. Her big break came just 3 years later, when, at 13, she was cast opposite Robert De Niro in the critically acclaimed film This Boy's Life. Sharing the screen with an acting legend at such a young age set the stage for a career built on confidence and raw, untamable talent. When Eliza Dushku first appeared on Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the show's third season, the dynamic of the entire series shifted. Faith was a Slayer activated after the death of Kendra, and she was everything Buffy wasn't: impulsive, hedonistic, and thrillingly dangerous. Dushku's portrayal was a masterclass in nuanced antagonism. You were equally terrified of her and heartbroken for her. Her signature phrase, 5x5, military slang for loud and clear or all is well, became an instant fan favorite, perfectly encapsulating Faith's tough, dismissive, yet strangely vulnerable exterior. In Season 4 is considered one of the series' best, largely due to Dushku's jaw-dropping performance as she impersonated Sarah Michelle Gellar's Buffy, capturing her mannerisms and voice with uncanny accuracy. Dushku's relationship with the character and the show is one of deep affection and recognition of its impact. She has always spoken fondly of her time on the show and her close bond with the cast, particularly Sarah Michelle Gellar. She understood Faith's appeal lay in her flaws, her rage, and her ultimate hard-won redemption. Faith was a character who reflected the messy, angry, and confused parts of ourselves, and Dushku played her with unflinching honesty and a magnetic, chaotic energy that made her impossible to look away from. After her star-making turn on Buffy, Dushku was poised for leading lady status. She headlined True Calling, which developed a loyal fan base but was cancelled after 2 seasons. She then reunited with Joss Whedon for the high-concept Dollhouse, a role she was deeply passionate about. Despite critical praise for its ambitious themes and Dushku's performance, the show struggled in the ratings and was cancelled after 2 seasons. Her career continued with voice work in video games like Wet and guest spots on shows like Banshee and The Big Bang Theory. However, a significant and dark chapter of her post-Buffy career unfolded publicly in 2017. She was cast in a major recurring role on the CBS series Bull, but was written off after confronting the show's star, Michael Weatherly, about his sexually harassing behavior on set. She later reached a settlement with CBS, and her courageous decision to speak out shed a stark light on the continuing challenges women face in Hollywood. Eliza Dushku's personal life has been marked by the same fierce spirit she brings to her roles. She has been open about her struggles, including entering rehab in her late teens and her ongoing journey of recovery, which she credits with saving her life. In 2018, she married her longtime friend, Peter Palangin, a real estate CEO and former professional tennis player, in a beautiful ceremony in Boston. The couple now has 2 children. Motherhood has become a central focus of her life, and she often shares her joy and the challenges of parenting on social media. Her decision to publicly detail the harassment she endured on the set of Bull was a defining moment, aligning her personal strength with her on-screen persona. She used her voice and her platform to fight for accountability, proving that her toughness was not just for the camera. So, where is the woman who taught us all what 5x5 means in 2024-2025? Eliza Dushku has gracefully entered a new, deeply personal chapter of her life, one centered firmly on family, advocacy, and her roots. Her acting career has taken a deliberate backseat. She is highly selective about roles, prioritizing her life as a mother and wife in her hometown of Boston. This isn't a retirement, it's a recalibration. She has traded the Hollywood hustle for school runs and family life, a choice that clearly brings her immense fulfillment. She remains a powerful and vocal advocate for survivors of addiction and harassment. Her social media is a blend of joyful family moments, candid reflections on her sobriety journey, and steadfast support for causes she believes in. She has become a Boston mama bear, fiercely protective of her family, her community, and her hard-won peace. While fans would love to see her return to our screens, it's clear that Eliza Dushku has found her most rewarding role yet. She evolved from a child actor to a cult icon to a courageous advocate, and now to a contented matriarch. She fought her way through Hollywood on her own terms, and now she's enjoying the quiet, well-earned victory of a happy life. And that, by any measure, is definitely 5x5. And so, from the hallways of Sunnydale High to wherever they are today, the cast of Buffy has proven that life, much like a season finale, is full of unexpected twists and turns. They've battled demons on screen and faced their own real-world challenges with the same courage and resilience their characters taught us. Their journeys remind us that growing up, changing, and finding our own path is the ultimate hero's quest. Thanks for watching this trip down memory lane. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite Buffy memory in the comments below. Be brave, live,